The war had lasted 300 years. The swarm moved across the galaxy like a plague of insects, eating everything in their path. Planets died. Stars went dark. Billions of lives ended in screaming terror as the bugs consumed them alive. The Galactic Union had tried everything. They sent their best soldiers. They built their greatest weapons. They formed alliances with species they had hated for thousands of years. Nothing worked. The just kept coming, wave after wave, endless and hungry. Admiral stood at the window of Station Omega-7, watching the stars. She was old now. Her blue skin had faded too, and her 4 eyes were tired. She had fought her entire life. She had watched friends die. She had watched entire civilizations disappear. And now she was waiting for help from a species no one had ever heard of. "The humans are arriving," said Commander. He was tall and covered in green scales. His 4 arms were crossed over his chest. Their ship just entered the system. "How many did they send?" asked. 200. Turned sharply. 200, we asked for 10,000. They said 200 would be enough. Laughed, but there was no happiness in it. Enough. Against a swarm that numbers in the trillions. She shook her head. These humans are either very stupid or very arrogant. Perhaps both, agreed. The human ship was ugly. It was not sleek like Union vessels. It was not elegant like cruisers. It looked like someone had welded scrap metal together and hoped it would fly. Watched it land in the docking bay with a loud, ugly sound. "Let us meet these saviors," she said, her voice full of doubt. The docking bay was huge and cold. Union soldiers stood in neat lines, their armor polished, their weapons ready. They were there to show respect, to make the humans feel welcome, wanted to make a good impression, even if she thought this was a waste of time. The ship's door opened with a hiss of steam. The first human stepped out. She was small, had read that humans were small, but she had not expected this. The woman barely reached shoulder. Her hair was black and pulled back tight. Her skin was pale and her eyes were dark. But those eyes had seen many things in her long life. She had seen courage. She had seen fear. She had seen the empty look of soldiers who had seen too much death. This was different. This woman's eyes held hunger, like a predator looking at meat. "I am Admiral of the Galactic Union," announced, stepping forward. "On behalf of all member species, I welcome you too." "Where are the woman interrupted. Blinked, "Excuse me." "The bugs, where are they? How far?" "The front lines are several systems away, but first you must undergo orientation, training, psychological evaluation. We need to integrate your forces with." "No." The word hung in the air like a blade. Behind the woman, more humans were stepping out of the ship. Men and women, young and old. They did not march in neat lines like Union soldiers. They moved like animals, their eyes scanning every shadow, every corner. They carried strange weapons, blades that hummed with energy, guns that looked homemade, things that could not even identify. "I am," the woman said. "I lead these people, and we did not travel across the galaxy for orientation, Admiral. We came to hunt." Felt something cold run down her spine. Hunt. Smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of something dangerous. "Your message reached Earth 6 months ago. You begged for help. You said that could not be stopped. You said your soldiers were dying by the millions." Stepped closer and had to stop herself from stepping back. "So we came, but we are not soldiers, Admiral. We are something else." "What are you then?" "Back on Earth they called us many things. Criminals, killers, monsters." Smile grew wider. "Your union asked for soldiers, but humanity does not send soldiers to wars like this. We send the people we are afraid to keep." Looked at the humans behind. Now she understood why they moved so strangely. They were not disciplined soldiers. They were predators, barely held in check. Some of them were smiling, and their smiles were worse than. "You sent us prisoners?" asked, her voice rising. Criminals, this is your help. We sent you killers, corrected. The best killers our species has ever produced. People so dangerous that Earth locked them away forever. People who dream of blood and wake up disappointed that it was just a dream. She tilted her head. You wanted someone who could stop you wanted someone who would not break, would not run, would not surrender. Well, Admiral, here we are. Stepped forward, his scales bristling. This is insane. We cannot allow criminals to. You can allow us, said quietly, or you can die. Those are your choices. Silence filled the docking bay. The Union soldiers shifted nervously. The humans stood perfectly still, watching, waiting. Looked at for a long moment. She thought about the war. She thought about the billions already dead. She thought about the endless and hungry coming closer every day. She thought about how desperate they truly were. Very well, said slowly. Welcome to the war. Nodded, point us at the bugs, Admiral, and then stay out of our way. She turned and walked back toward her people. They gathered around her like wolves around their pack leader. Watched them go, feeling something she had not felt in a very long time. Fear. Not fear of she had lived with that fear for centuries. This was fear of the people who had come to save them. The first mission was supposed to be simple. A patrol had been trapped on the frozen moon of 4. 3,000 warriors surrounded them. Union command had already marked them as dead. There was no way to save them. The rescue would cost too many lives. Went anyway. He was not a big man. He was thin and quiet, with a scar that ran from his forehead to his chin. He never smiled. He never laughed. The other humans said he had killed 37 people on Earth before they caught him. They said he had done it with a kitchen knife. He took one small ship to 4. He took one blade, nothing else. The Union officers watching from orbit expected him to die in minutes. They expected to see his signal disappear as the tore him apart. Instead, they watched something they could not understand. Moved through the like water through sand. He did not fight like a soldier. He did not use cover or tactics or formations. He simply killed. One fell, then another, then 10, then 50. The bugs tried to surround him. He slipped away. They tried to shoot him. He was not there anymore. They tried to run. He did not let them. When Union reinforcements finally landed, expecting to find corpses, they found the patrol alive. They were huddled together, shaking, unable to speak. Around them lay the bodies of 3,000, scattered across the ice like broken toys. And in the middle of it all sat, cleaning his blade. What happened here? The Union commander asked, his voice barely a whisper. Looked up, his face was covered in blue blood, but his eyes were calm, almost bored. I killed them, he said simply. Then he went back to cleaning his blade. Word spread through the Union like fire. The humans were not soldiers, they were something else, something worse. Was the next to become famous. She specialized in infiltration. On Earth, she had been a spy, then an assassin, then something that had no name. She had killed important people in ways that made governments afraid to speak her name. The Union gave her a mission. A hive ship was moving toward a populated world. It carried 50,000 warriors and 3 breeding chambers. If it reached the planet, millions would die. Did not destroy the ship. That would have been too easy. She slipped inside, alone, in the dark. She moved through corridors filled with, and not one of them saw her. She found the breeding chambers and planted explosives. She found the command center and poisoned the air supply. She found the Queen's personal chamber. And she left a message, carved into the wall with a knife. We are coming. The ship exploded 2 hours later. 50,000 died. The Queen died. The breeding chambers burned. And somewhere in the darkness of space floated in an escape pod waiting for pickup. She was smiling. Then there was, he loved explosions. He loved fire. He loved the sound of things breaking and burning and dying. On Earth, he had destroyed buildings for fun. He had burned down entire city blocks just to watch them fall. The Union gave him a fuel depot to destroy. It was a simple mission. Plant the bombs, get out, detonate from a safe distance. Did not get out. He stayed inside. He wanted to feel the explosion. He wanted to be close to it. When the depot went up in flames, taking 200 with it, walked out of the fire. His clothes were burning. His skin was burned, and he was laughing. That was beautiful, he said to the Union soldiers staring at him in horror. Do you have more? But none of them scared the like. Did not carry weapons, she did not need them. They had a psychic network, a hive mind that connected every drone to every queen. They shared thoughts, they shared feelings, they shared dreams. Had learned to enter that network. No one knew how, no one asked. All they knew was that when closed her eyes, every within 100 light years felt her presence. They felt her hatred, they felt her hunger. She did not kill them with weapons, she killed them with fear. The first time she used her power, an entire outpost went silent. When Union forces arrived to investigate, they found 10,000 dead, not from wounds, not from weapons. They had simply stopped. Their hearts had stopped. Their minds had stopped. They had felt thoughts, and they had died of pure terror. They started calling her the Nightmare. They whispered her name through their psychic network, warning each other. Beware the human who walks in dreams. Beware the one who brings fear to the fearless. Admiral watched all of this with growing horror. She had asked for soldiers. She had received monsters. They are winning, Commander said one day, looking at the battle reports. They are retreating on every front. We have not seen progress like this in 300 years. I know, said quietly. Then why do you look so afraid? Turn to face him. Because I do not know what happens when the war is over. What do we do with them then? How do we stop people like this? Had no answer. Neither did anyone else. The 200 continued their work. They killed by the thousands, then by the millions. They took no prisoners. They showed no mercy. They laughed while they fought, and they smiled while they killed. The galaxy had asked for soldiers. Humanity had sent something else entirely. For the first time in 300 years, they ran away. Not a slow retreat, not a careful pullback to stronger positions. They fled. Entire fleets turned and ran. Planets were abandoned overnight. Hive ships jumped into deep space and never came back. The Galactic Union could not believe it. After centuries of endless defeat, after billions of deaths, they were running. The war was finally turning. But deep in the heart of space, something else was happening. Something that had never happened before in the history of the swarm. The queens were afraid. Queen Mother was the oldest of them all. She had lived for 10,000 years. She had consumed 100 civilizations. She had watched species rise and fall like waves on a shore. Nothing had ever scared her. Nothing had ever made her doubt. Until now. She gathered the Hive Council in the deepest chamber of the. Thousands of queens attended, their minds linked through the psychic network. Their thoughts flowed together like rivers joining a sea. Tell me about these creatures, demanded. Her voice echoed through every mind in the chamber. Tell me what we face. The memories came flooding in. A queen named shared her memory first. Her forces had captured a human male named Minu. He was small like all humans, weak like all prey. They had chained him in a cell and prepared to study him. He had escaped. No one knew how. The chains were unbreakable. The guards were everywhere. But somehow Minu had gotten free. By the time they found him, 47 elite warriors were dead. He had killed them with nothing but a broken piece of metal. And he had been singing while he did it. Another queen shared her memory. A human female named Sora had allowed herself to be captured. Allowed it. She had walked into a breeding station and surrendered without a fight. They had been suspicious, but they took her anyway. They wanted to study human biology. Sora had been carrying fire. She had waited until they brought her deep inside the station. Then she had set herself on fire. The flames spread to the breeding chambers. 3 queens died. 10,000 drones burned. The entire station collapsed into ash. And Sora had walked out of the flames, alive, laughing. "These creatures are not prey," Queen said. "They are not even predators, they are something else, something broken." Felt the fear spreading through the network. For the first time in 10,000 years, the hive mind was filled with doubt. "We have consumed 100 species," another queen argued. "We have eaten civilizations that built stars. These humans are small, they are few, they cannot stop us." "Then why are we running?" asked. Silence. The truth was simple. They had never faced anything like humans before. Every species they had conquered had fought to survive. They feared death. They wanted to live. When things became hopeless, they surrendered. They broke. Humans did not break. Humans did not surrender. Some humans seemed to want to die. They threw themselves into battles they could not win. They walked into traps on purpose. They smiled while they bled. They laughed while they burned. How do you fight an enemy that does not care if it lives or dies? "There is another problem," said, "the one they call the nightmare." Every queen felt the fear spike higher. Had been entering their dreams. Every night across the galaxy felt her presence in the psychic network. She did not attack. She did not threaten. She simply appeared in their minds, showing them images of death. Human hands tearing through chitin. Human teeth biting into flesh. Human laughter echoing through burning hives. They had stopped sleeping. Drones were collapsing from exhaustion. Warriors were making mistakes in battle because they could not rest. Some had gone mad, attacking their own kind. Others had simply died, their minds unable to handle the constant terror. "She is killing us without weapons," said. "She is killing us with our own minds." "Then we must block her," another queen suggested. "Close the psychic network, cut ourselves off from each other. And become blind, become deaf. The network is what makes us strong. Without it, we are nothing but insects." Considered their options. They were not good. The humans were coming closer every day. The galaxy that had been losing for 300 years was suddenly winning. And at the center of it all were 200 creatures that seemed more monster than human. "We must negotiate," decided. "We must offer peace." The council erupted in protest. They had never negotiated. They consumed. That was their nature. That was their purpose. "We adapt or we die," said firmly. "Send a message to the humans. Offer to withdraw from Union space. Offer to never return. Perhaps they will accept." The message was sent. The response came quickly. It was from the human leader. Her words were transmitted through radio waves, old technology that bypassed the psychic network. "We know you are running," said. Her voice was cold, empty. "We know you want to hide. We want you to understand something." A pause. "We are coming anyway." The message ended. Felt something she had never felt before. True fear. Not the fear of an enemy, not the fear of death. The fear of being hunted by something that would never stop. "Prepare for siege," she commanded. "Every warrior, every drone, every queen. If they want to end us, they will pay for it in blood." But deep inside, she knew the truth. Blood was exactly what the humans wanted. Admiral found them loading ships in the military dock. The 200, now numbering 163 after months of combat, were preparing to leave. They had taken a Union battle cruiser without asking. No one had tried to stop them. "Wait," called out, rushing toward. "Where are you going?" Did not stop loading weapons. After them. "After who? They are retreating. They are leaving Union space. We have won." Finally looked at her. Those dark eyes were as cold as ever. "You have won. We have not finished." "What does that mean?" "It means we did not come here to push them back. We came here to end them." Felt her hearts beating faster. "The war is over. You can go home. We can negotiate peace with they will leave and never return. Billions of lives can be saved on both sides." smiled that terrible smile. Peace. You think the bugs want peace? You think they will stop eating worlds just because they promised? No, Admiral, they will retreat. They will rebuild. They will come back in 100 years or 1,000, and they will eat your children and your children's children. You do not know that. I know predators, and the only way to stop a predator is to kill it. Walked past carrying a box of explosives. He was humming happily. Behind him, checked her knives one by one, running her thumb along each blade. Sat in the corner, sharpening his sword, the same sword that had killed thousands. These were not people who wanted peace. These were hunters who had found the best prey in the galaxy. The Galactic Union will not support this, said desperately. You will be alone, no reinforcements, no supplies, no help. Good, said, we work better alone. She turned and walked toward the cruiser. Her people followed. 163 killers, heading into the unknown to hunt a species that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. Watched them go, she should have felt relieved. The war was ending. The threat was fading. But all she felt was dread, not for the humans, for whatever they were about to do. The hunt began. The humans chased into uncharted space. They followed trails of abandoned worlds and empty hive ships. They tracked the swarm's retreat like wolves following wounded deer. The first colony they found had a population of 40 billion. It was a massive world, covered in hives that stretched from pole to pole. They thought they were safe. They thought the humans would never find them so deep in their territory. They were wrong. Led the ground assault. He took 30 humans down to the surface. They landed their ship directly in the center of the largest hive and fought their way out. For 3 days they cut through the population. They did not stop to eat. They did not stop to sleep. They simply killed. When they left, the colony was silent. 40 billion dead. The humans lost 2 of their own. They did not mourn, they just kept going. Next came the shipyard. They were building new hive ships there, preparing for a future war. The humans did not destroy it. Instead, led a team inside. They killed everyone who resisted and took control of the facility. Now the humans were building their own ships, more weapons, more tools for killing. They are becoming an army, Commander reported to the Union Council. They are not just hunting anymore, they are conquering. Should we stop them? A council member asked. With what? They have already killed more than our entire military combined, and they are getting stronger every day. The Union decided to do nothing. What choice did they have? The humans found a nursery world next. This was where the swarm raised its young. Millions of eggs waiting to hatch. Millions of larvae growing into warriors. No one knew exactly what happened there. The humans did not report details. But when they left, nothing was alive. Not one egg, not one larva, not one adult. Was changing too. The nightmare was growing stronger. She had learned to do more than just enter dreams. She could broadcast her thoughts through their entire network. Every in the galaxy felt her presence now. Every night they dreamed of her face, of her smile, of the death she brought. Some stopped sleeping entirely. They worked until they collapsed. Others went mad, attacking their own hives. Some simply died, their hearts stopping from pure terror. She is a weapon, said proudly, watching meditate. The most powerful weapon we have. She kills without moving. She destroys without touching. Opened her eyes. They were empty like windows into darkness. I can feel them all, she whispered. Every in the galaxy. They are so scared. It is beautiful. The hunt continued for months. The humans moved from system to system, planet to planet. They left only death behind. They fled deeper and deeper into their own territory, but there was nowhere to hide. Finally, his team found what they were looking for. It had no name. It was simply the heart of everything. The birthplace of all queens, the center of the swarm. If the humans could take it, they would be finished. Gathered her people. 141 remained. They had lost 22 since leaving Union space, but they had killed billions. "This is it," said, "the end of the hunt, everything we came here for." Checked his blade, counted her knives, loaded his explosives with a smile, closed her eyes and reached into the network. "They know we are coming," said. "They are waiting for us, every warrior, every drone, every queen. They will fight to the last." Smiled that terrible smile. "Good, I was hoping for a challenge." The fleet moved toward the final battle was about to begin. The hung in space like a dark jewel. It was ancient beyond measure. For billions of years, the swarm had grown here, spreading across the galaxy like a plague. Every queen had been born in its depths. Every war had begun with orders from its heart. Now it was surrounded. 141 humans had gathered a fleet of stolen ships. Union cruisers, hive ships, vessels taken from a dozen conquered outposts. They floated in the darkness, waiting, watching. Inside, the Queen Mother prepared for the final battle. Every in the galaxy had been called home. Trillions of warriors filled every tunnel, every chamber, every surface of the planet. The skies were dark with hive ships. The ground crawled with drones. This was the full power of the swarm, everything they had, everything they were. Reached out through the psychic network one last time. She bypassed interference and spoke directly to the human leader. Of Earth said, "I wish to understand." Stood on the bridge of her flagship, staring at the planet through the viewport. She felt the Queen's voice in her mind but showed no surprise. "Understand what?" "Why we are retreating. We have left your galaxy. We will never return. Why do you still hunt us?" Was quiet for a long moment. Behind her, her people waited in silence, with his blade, with her knives, with his bombs, with her closed eyes and terrible smile. "You think this is about protecting the Union," finally said. "About saving lives, about winning a war. Is it not?" "No," laughed softly. "You do not understand what we are. On Earth we were locked away, criminals, killers, monsters, people so broken that our own species was afraid to keep us. We spent our lives in cells, in hospitals, in chains, dreaming of freedom, dreaming of purpose." She stepped closer to the viewport, her breath fogging the glass. "Then your war came, and suddenly we were useful. Suddenly the galaxy needed exactly what we are, hunters, predators, things that kill without mercy and laugh while doing it." Her voice grew colder. "You gave us purpose, you gave us permission, you gave us prey." "We are willing to die," replied. "Every warrior, every drone, every queen. We will not surrender our—" Smiled, that terrible hungry smile. "Good." She cut the connection and turned to face her people. "The galaxy asked for soldiers," she said. "They got us instead. They got the ones humanity hides from itself, the broken ones, the dangerous ones, the ones who should never have existed." She drew her weapon. "Today we show them what we really are. Today we finish what we started." A cheer rose from the humans, not a military cheer, not an organized battle cry. It was the howl of predators who had finally cornered their prey. The attack began. Ships plunged toward the planet. Weapons filled the sky with fire. Hive ships rose to meet the human fleet. Space itself seemed to burn as the two forces collided. Was the first to reach the surface. His drop pod crashed through a formation, killing dozens on impact. He climbed out with his blade already swinging. Around him, warriors fell in waves. He moved like water, like wind, like death itself. Nothing could touch him. Nothing could stop him. His team hit the underground tunnels. They slipped through the darkness like ghosts, planting explosives in breeding chambers, cutting power lines, assassinating queens in their own chambers. They could not find them. They could not catch them. They could only die. Found the central power core. It was protected by 10,000 warriors. He fought his way through alone, laughing the entire time. When he finally reached the core, he planted enough explosives to crack the planet in half. "Beautiful," he whispered, staring at his work. simply beautiful. And the nightmare. She sat in her ship, eyes closed, mind open. She poured herself into the psychic network. Not just dreams this time, not just fear. This time she gave them everything. Every dark thought, every terrible memory, every moment of pain she had ever felt. The network screamed. Across the planet, warriors collapsed. Drones froze in their tracks. Queens clutched their heads and died where they stood. Was killing them with their own minds, burning out their consciousness with pure human hatred. "I see you," she whispered. "I see all of you, and I am never letting go." The battle lasted 3 days. 3 days of constant fighting. 3 days of blood and fire and death. They threw everything they had at the humans. It was not enough. When it was over, the swarm was extinct. Every queen was dead. Every warrior was silent. Every drone had stopped moving. There was a graveyard, a tomb for a species that had terrorized the galaxy for billions of years. The humans lost 11 of their own. 130 remained. They did not mourn. They had never learned how. Stood on the surface of the dead world looking up at the stars. The hunt was over. The prey was gone, and she felt something she had not expected. Emptiness. "What do we do now?" asked, appearing beside her. His blade was still wet with blood. "We go home," said quietly. "Back to our cells, our hospitals, our quiet civilized prisons." And after that, was silent for a long time. Months later, Admiral found her on a dead moon at the edge of known space. The human was sitting alone, staring at the stars. "The war is officially over," said. "The Union Council has declared victory. There will be celebrations across the galaxy." "Good for them. They want to give you medals, honors, they want to call you heroes." Laughed bitterly. "We are not heroes, Admiral. We are not even soldiers. We are the monsters humanity keeps locked away, the ones they hope they will never need." She stood, brushing dust from her armor. "But next time your galaxy has something that needs killing, something that cannot be reasoned with, cannot be stopped, cannot be scared away, you know where to find us." Walked toward her ship. At the ramp she paused and looked back. "Just remember one thing, Admiral. We do not stop when the enemy surrenders. We stop when they are gone." The ship lifted off. The humans returned to Earth, where they would be locked away again, waiting in the dark, dreaming of blood, hoping that someday, somewhere, something would be foolish enough to threaten their galaxy again. The Union remembered them as saviors, heroes who had ended a 300-year war in months. Earth remembered them as what they truly were: the Slayers.